Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. The world needs to hear your message and your story, so don't deny the world of that gift within you that the universe has given you. Someone out there needs to hear your story because it will support them in feeling hope, inspired, and even transformed. Do you want to discover how I help get my clients out of their own way, show up, and confidently share their message? I would love to extend an invitation to you to join me in my free masterclass, Start Your Own Podcast from Idea to Implementation, on Wednesday, April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can find the registry link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Ann Oickle. She is a conversion coach and also runs a business which helps people with their health and well-being through a redox molecule supplement. Welcome, Ann. How are you today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I'm looking forward to jumping in and sharing a little bit about your story, your journey, and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. So with that being said, let us jump right in. So I would love to start off by asking you, what is conversion coaching and what inspired you to become a conversion coach?
Well, there's so many coaches out there now, and it's like, what sets me apart from everyone else? And really, there's a lot of similarities between coaches, but there's also a lot of differences. And the key is our personalities. So transformation, that word is used so much nowadays.
It is.
And you hear people calling themselves transformation coach, and they're not wrong. They are transformation coaches. And one thing that stood out for me was the conversion. Like, you're literally converting from where you are to where you want to be. So there's a conversion that happens. Yes, there's a transformation, but there's a huge conversion that takes place from here to here. And it just hit me one day. It's, what kind of coach am I? And it literally.
And you didn't want to use the word transformation.
No, and transformation didn't really resonate with me a whole lot. And it could be because it's overused. I don't know. But that word really jumped out at me out of the blue. And I was like, interesting. So I thought,
okay,
I stuck it on there. I was like, I like it.
That resonates. So what does conversion coaching mean to you personally?
Well, for me, I coach individuals that are looking to minimize their stress in their life, minimize the frustration, the overwhelm, the anxiety. And that's exactly where I am, or had been. And I literally transformed and converted through a whole process, because for me, everything was big. I was born, like, I was in my mother's womb and stress. Like, I had two brothers that were ill, and she found out while she was pregnant that they were not going to live. So I tell people, like, I was stressed in the womb.
Yeah.
Like, that was imprinted on me before I was even born. So, and when I look back on my life and how I've craved and fed off stress, it became my driving force. And it became to a point where I recognized it wasn't healthy. It was actually Dr. Joe Dispenza that really, like, powered the punch and hit me in the face like a ton of bricks, because as he explains it, he goes through it in a very scientific way. But he explained that high stress, high beta brainwaves is not healthy. Like, when you're constantly functioning in fight, flight, or freeze mode, you've got, like, chemicals happening in your body and endorphins, like, you name it. It's constantly triggered. That's not healthy. So if you look at a wild animal in the woods, like even a deer, especially, because they're not one to attack, they'll be grazing in a field. They sense danger and boom, they flight. And their heart rate increases. It gets them to safety, and then they calm back down. And within minutes, they're back out in the field grazing again. Well, as humans, we've learned to hit flight, fight, or freeze and get stuck there. Right. And I was stuck in fight mode. I fought everybody. I confronted everything. And I thrived on that high level of stress. And when I was listening and learning from his stuff, like, it hit me in the face. It's, oh my God, like, I'm up here all the time. And as we age, our body starts to, as we know, disintegrate.
Yeah.
And it starts to break down. So for me, all the pain points of all the injuries I had when I was younger were starting to ache. And people around me, like I've already had people that I went to school with that have already passed away from cancer and heart disease and all these other things. And I'm like, I'm just a ticking time bomb because I'm constantly functioning in high level stress. So that's where all of this really triggered from, is getting out of that high stress and finding what true joy, peace, and calm, and finding a loving, caring, compassionate environment really looked like and what it really meant. Because I didn't know, honestly.
Yeah.
And most people out there don't know.
No, they don't even realize that they're in that mode.
No.
You're right.
No. So I had a slap in the face. And I'm here for those that get that slap in the face and don't know where to start, because I didn't either.
Yeah. Well, at least you have the self-awareness now and can recognize that. And that's what you're doing for other people, is helping them recognize. Yeah. So what were you doing for a living before making the leap into the world of entrepreneurship? And what was the catalyst for that shift for you?
I was functioning in the industrial world. And of course, I picked areas of high stress because that's where I thrived. And a lot of people, like the jobs that I would take, like people think, oh, you're an account manager, no big deal. But the jobs I took, most people wouldn't take them. Like they would try to hire within. And most times they couldn't find people that would take those positions. I had some that were not too bad. But the last one I left, it was such a high stressed, high paced position that 3 of us in the run of a year punched through over $40 million of business. So the bulk of that had to be entered before noon or 12:30 in the afternoon, because we had to transfer product in from our main CDC and local vendors. So the afternoon was spent catching up on what we couldn't get to ship out that day, because everything had to go that day. Like we were dealing with the pipeline industry, and the guys need their stuff. Yeah. And what most people don't understand, sometimes the simplest little thing like a Sharpie marker can shut down a site if that's all they can use.
Right.
And it sounds a bit extreme, but that was the reality of it. Like when equipment goes down, it costs them multi-million dollars a day. So getting them their stuff, and as much of it as possible, is a big deal. So because of the high stress and the demand and the type of industry we were dealing with and the type of personalities we had to deal with on the other side of the phone, not many people would take that role. So whenever we had to hire, it was a struggle because it wasn't for everybody. So that's where I come from. The bulk of my work life was in the industrial field. I took a break a couple years and dove into real estate and financial services, so working independently. Yeah. And back then I was younger and it wasn't for me because I didn't have the tools and the skill set that I have now. So that drove me to be a workaholic, because I'm now independent and I don't have a steady paycheck doing those.
Right.
And I became like a 24/7. Like I remember when I was doing real estate, at one point I had 2 cell phones hooked to my hip because I was also managing a limo business. So when the cell phone stopped ringing during the day for real estate, the limo business was going. So I was like nonstop, and people are like, what are you doing? Working for a living.
What drives, motivates, and inspires you to keep going and excelling at all that you do, Ann?
You know what? I've always had a high energy personality, as you can see. And honestly, I've always had a drive for life. When I think a lot of it has to do with the way I was raised, where I had 2 sick brothers. Like you're taught early on, when you have 2 sick boys that are going to pass away, it's inevitable that life can be short. So you better start thinking about how you're living your life. And that's something I did not do. I took it for granted, even having that in my life up until the last few years, really. And having that, like even throughout my whole life, like I would always have this saying, people would always pressure you to do what they think you should do. You should you should get married. You should do this. You should do that. And my response to people is, I was not put on this earth to please you or anybody. So I had a very natural instinct and drive to just go. So it transitioned as I got into this work and started working on myself. It really transitioned to a purposeful drive of, there's so many people out there functioning like me, and I needed help. They probably need help, and I've gone through it. So it only makes sense that I can now walk them through it. Right, and some of the lessons I've learned, and there's so much more I'm still learning. It doesn't end.
It never does for any of us.
No. So it's constantly been a huge learning curve, a huge journey, and more so over the last probably 3 years where I really started to deep dive. Actually, probably 4 years now. I lose track of time. It was COVID when I really dove into it. So we're getting into 4 or 5 years now that I really started to deep dive into my own journey. And it's only been the latter part of last year into this year that I really had the program to really hit the ground and run with.
Now, you mentioned the whole high stress thing, and you were living in that zone and the high pressure job and all of these things. Was there anything else that was like, or was there one particular thing that was a catalyst moment for you that shifted you into coaching? Because I've spoken with a lot of coaches, and a lot of them say that there was a particular moment that was a catalyst for them moving into the coaching world. Was there any catalyst moment for you in particular?
You know what? There's nothing that really stands out because it was a bit of a process for me. So while I was hiring coaches to help me, it became a natural motivation for me. And because none of those people really pushed me into coaching, it was more or less me realizing that I have something that I can offer to help people, because that was part of my frustration during my journey, especially early on. I know there's more to this 9-to-5 job that I'm not loving. I enjoyed what I did, but I didn't love it. So I was able to go to work with high energy and do what I did because it was really motivating at the time and empowering in some ways, but I didn't love it. So as I'm doing my own personal growth, it became a natural shift that, because I'm asking myself through the whole thing, what is it that I can do as a business that I love and enjoy? And so many people would say to me growing up, well, what did you do as a kid that you loved? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't remember. I shut out my childhood. It was too traumatic. And it's, you know what? Like, I used to love drawing and sketching, but I don't do that stuff anymore. I don't love it anymore. I enjoy it. My daughter's very artistic. She's phenomenal, but that's not my thing anymore. So for me to go back to my childhood and what did I love doesn't work for me. And I'm like, how many other people are being told that? And they're like me, they're like, I don't know. Yeah. So it was more of a slower transition. It wasn't a wham, bam, oh, I'm going to become a coach. It was a transition for me. It was doing my own growth and trusting that I could do this as a career, and even to help one person, it makes it all worth it.
For sure. What lights you up or inspires you the most about the work you do as a coach?
You know what? It's honestly, when you have someone that resonates with your energy and your field, and they come to you and say, I want you to help me. It's humbling to know that there's something you can do to help them go from where they're at to where they want to be. Mm-hmm. So that was probably my biggest inspiration, because growing up the way I did, you become self-serving and self-centered. So as you heal and grow, there's less need for that. You don't have the food need to fuel that fire. So things open up, and then it becomes not just about you, but about people around you. And so when I see people struggling and hurting and going through things, when they come to me and say, okay, I'm ready, because I can't help anybody unless they want it. Absolutely. So I can walk through life and see people struggling, but if they're stuck in their own turmoil of trauma, yes, thank you. They're not coming out of that unless they want to.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had to find a barrier. And this is part of working independent that didn't work for me back then, because I lacked that boundary of figuring out that barrier of who and what I can help and how. And that's like the redox molecules. It's the same thing. Like, those hit you at a cellular level. That's your foundation. We have 75 trillion cells in our body. Nobody talks about that health. We talk about the heart disease and the diabetes and the cancers and the dementias and Parkinson's, all these different diseases. And the doctors are trained to treat the disease or the symptoms or both, but they never go deeper to the root, which is our cells, because everything they're treating is cellular based. Yeah. So when I see people struggling and I start talking about cellular health and they don't have the knowledge and they don't want to gain the knowledge, I have to learn to let that go. I can't help those people. And it's tough because you don't want to see people suffer.
Yeah, of course.
And it's a struggle, but I have to do this at some point and say, when you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah, you
ready.
can't help those that don't want to be helped. There's nothing.
And that was my biggest barrier and mindset shift to get into working for myself, because I didn't have that when I was younger. So I struggled, especially in the financial services. Like when you're sitting and you're showing somebody, if they don't change their ways, they're going to go bankrupt and they don't get it. And of course, I'm in my 20s lacking a lot of filters. Wasn't a good match.
Yeah. What are 3 of the most important lessons you'd say that you've learned as a coach?
Oh my Lord. 3 of the most important lessons is to relax this energy, first of all. To be able to relax this is huge, and because I never could. And being able to just sit and listen and drop the judgments, and to be able to really question people on where they're at, because everybody's journey is their own. It's different. Yeah. And it really, when I first got into this, it took me a minute to realize that they're not going to go down my path. They're going down their own path. So being able to shift and calm and relax everything. My coach works with the Akashic Records, which not everybody knows and understands what that is. But being able to really tap into that before I start any session and just let things flow. Learning flow was huge for me. And I've constantly got to remind myself, okay, time to chill out and get in flow state and just let things come.
Beautiful. Now, limiting beliefs can sabotage progress, of course. How do you guide your clients in uncovering and challenging their limiting beliefs to facilitate conversion and growth?
You know what? That's probably the toughest part of the coaching that I do, because although people are ready, if they're anything like I was, they're blocked and they don't always understand why. So being able to question and remind them why they came to begin with, because sometimes they forget why they come in and why they want to convert and change. And that block can get bigger and bigger because they're stuck, like you say, in their own shit. And that becomes a protection mechanism. So being able to relax and question and remind them why they're here to begin with. Remind people of the outcome on the other side, the joy and peace and calm and tranquility that they're really going to be able to experience, and really keep that in the forefront. Have those goals set early on and really keep that in the forefront, and constantly, what did you learn from this session? What have you learned since we met last time? Yeah. What growth has changed? And providing the support, because like you say, this is not a smooth transition. Life is happening no matter what. Like I'm going through some of my own personal stuff, and it's been actually quite refreshing to realize how by changing how I think, feel, and act, how the impact of this event that's happening now versus if it happened 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Very different. Life's still going to hit. You cannot control anything outside of this vessel. This is all we can control. Yeah. And helping people realize that's where the true comfort, joy, peace, tranquility, harmony, flow, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That's where it's all within. It's not without. And without is going to happen regardless of where you're at and what's going on. And the only thing that can help people get through any of that stuff is to constantly be aware and be reminded how we think, feel, and act is going to get us through it more easily, or it's going to make it more challenging and hard. And I look back when my mom passed away, I was 23 years old. And the events that took place after she passed affected me for 8 years.
Yeah.
And I will often say, I lost 8 years of my life. Well, no, I didn't. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have those 8 years.
Yep.
But it's a figure of speech to let people know that if I had the tools I have now, that 8 years would have been 2 to 3 months, maybe less. So when stuff happens now, like I'm dealing with massive stuff with my daughter right now, and that's not going away. That's something external that I can't control. But how I think and feel about it and how I'm reacting to it now is everything. And it's diffusing the situation. Then if it happened before me having these tools, I would have inflated the situation.
Yeah, that self-awareness piece is huge.
My husband, it's huge. And people don't realize how much their energy radiates out in around the people around them.
Everything is energy. Everything.
It's huge. And I was reminded this weekend how much energy really flows out beyond us. because I went, because of everything going on, I took Saturday and went to a weekend, I'm going to call it a day retreat. And we did fascia maneuvering, we did dance, and the breath work session is what impacted me the most. So I did the movements in the morning, which helped release a lot. So by the time we got to the breath work, I had the most profound experience I've ever had in my entire life. And my body is still integrating all of that. And Sunday, I was so exhausted. It affected my husband, my daughter, all three of us napped. We hardly ever nap, but all three of us, like all of us were toast on Sunday, even the animals, like it resonated throughout this entire household, like everywhere. And it didn't hit me until somebody reminded me, like, you did that. Because my energy was releasing so much that it reflected into them, and all of us like crashed.
That's powerful.
Sunday afternoon.
So it did you good. It was needed though. It was good. It was a step 100%. Forward. How has your personal transformation influenced your approach to coaching and guiding others through their own conversion journey?
Well, because I've walked in it myself, like I've often been one to advocate walk in your own shoes first. And practice what you preach. So I actually do practice what I preach. That's what keeps me in my state of authenticity and where I'm at, where I'm going. And as we grow and shift and change, you stay true to yourself, and you're teaching others to do the same. So it's a process that's constantly flowing. And being in the now is huge, and it's tough. And I never knew how to do that before. I was always 5 days ahead or more. I planned everything. If I couldn't control, I was out of control. And I tried to control everything prior. Like it was a huge wake up call for me to realize that I can't control anything. So being able to teach people that you can't, like, stuff out there is happening regardless. This is the only thing you can control.
Yeah. And that's the huge self-awareness piece that a lot of people need to realize, that all we have control over is ourselves and how we react to situations. And that's it. You can't control other people. People are going to do what they're going to do, and that's it. But you can control how you react to that person when they're doing what they're doing.
100%.
Yeah. How do you continue to cultivate inner growth and self-awareness in your own life?
I keep my own coach on tap. I'm not joking. Like, literally, like I have done enough work on myself that I can coach myself to a certain degree, but it only goes so far. So being able to have a community and support and people that I can tap into when I need that extra oomph, growth, or slap in the face, so to speak, I have those people available to do that for me as well. So it's too easy to do this work and then think you've arrived and stop. And then you just go right back to where you were and how you were functioning, because that's ingrained in you. It takes time to shift and build those habits. So you have to get to a point where you realize that you have to constantly apply this. And even then, because it's ingrained in your DNA of how you were, you've got to constantly remind yourself how much better you are now because of the work you've done. And to go back to where I was, for example, that's not an option for me anymore. I don't ever want to see that side of me again if I can help it. So for me to go back into the victim mode of my life prior to is not an option for me. So when you can get to a level of growth where you recognize that and feel it in your bones, then you make sure you've always got something to keep you growing and moving forward. You don't have to have a coach 24/7, but take time to integrate and learn and embed what you've learned, and then maybe hire a different coach and go a different route, learn new things. Like, the biggest thing is learning, teaching, exploring, and then loving it all and loving the people around you. And what was another big thing for me is disposing of any negativity in my life is huge, because people have friends, family members, even spouses or children that are negative. So you can't just dispose of them.
No.
So it's more challenging for those people. I've been grateful enough that my husband has been hugely supportive. We've had challenges with our daughter. She's 17 years old, so there's going to be negative.
There you go. Teen angst.
Dang it.
Yeah.
But it's there. So, but being able to regulate that and guide them and coach them as best you can through their negativity and reminding them that they're being, because they don't even always remind it.
No.
And because I do that with my daughter, she reflects it back on me as well. So it's great because she'll walk through the door and say, how come you look so evil? And I'm like, I didn't know I was looking evil. So thank you. But because I do that to her, she reflects it back to me. So I've got that personal coach right next door.
There you go.
So they learn. They
for
reflect
sure.
it back to you. So
For sure.
I think having that community, or at least that touch point when you need it, and recognizing that you need it to do that outreach and hire the next one, start the next process, even taking courses. I find now, even the courses I sign up for has that connection or the spiritual aspect to it now, and it never used to. So what I'm gravitated to for my own learning now is completely different, right down to marketing. I just paid for it was just a small marketing 5 video type marketing program, but the lady that delivers it is tapped in. She's dialed in. It's part of the community that I've exposed myself to. So our intentions are huge. And I don't think people realize, and even I forget it myself, how much our intentions can impact what comes to us and through us.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to do everything with intention. It has to be intentional. 100%. Self-awareness is essential for sustainable growth. So how do you help your clients deepen their self-awareness and understand their underlying drivers for their behavior?
Yeah, so it goes back to the questioning and the probing and being that support. So I have people there for me. I'm there for them. So the support is probably the biggest thing outside of the questioning, because the questioning is where they're going to have the self-realization.
Yeah.
I can't be here to tell them because nobody wants to be told anything. So deep seeding the questioning, having them integrate, having them analyze themselves, being there to help guide and coach through that analyzation, giving alternate perspectives. And again, right back to the self-awareness of what can you control and what can you not? And then letting go.
I see a theme here, Ann.
Yes. Yes.
Now, the journey of conversion is often nonlinear and unpredictable. So how do you help clients embrace the ups and downs of their transformational journey and stay resilient in the face of challenges?
Back to the pattern, think, feeling, and acting, but supporting them through all that is key, especially early on. I am to a point, I still need help and coaching. When I make leaps and bounds now, it's whoo.
Yeah.
Because I've done so much growth and there is no arrival, but I'm in the unknown now. I don't know what can come next. I don't know what's around the corner.
That's the
I don't know
exciting
what
part.
I'm going to learn until it slaps me in the face now. So I'm at a different place. I get goosebumps too. I'm at a different place. So being able to guide them through the intricate little pieces of what's big for them is now small for me. So I can look at it at the micro and the macro levels now, and getting them to that point is huge. And it's all about the support and the awareness and being there and helping them recognize when to reach out, because that was another trigger for me. I didn't know when to reach out, or I was reluctant to reach out because I've always been very independent. And although I joke about being the queen of questions, I never wanted to be a burden. So there was a conflict for me.
There's the big thing right there, is asking for help. People, because we've been conditioned that asking for help is weak, that you should be able to figure it out all on your own. And no, that's not the case. You need support. We all need, everybody on this planet needs support, needs cheerleaders. We need to have and surround ourselves with that community. Community is the foundation for everything, for success, for life. We need it, period. 100%. It's so important.
And like I say, recognizing those conflicts so that you can jump past those barriers. And I'm constantly being taught myself, because there's times I'll reach out for help from people or question those that I feel would best be able to serve. And sometimes I don't always get the answer that I'm looking for or what I think I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So I'm to a point now where I can sit back and say, okay, did I ask the right person? What just happened? What can I learn from it? Because it's happened for a reason. I'm unsatisfied right now, so why?
Yeah.
But I'm able to do that now. I was never able to do that before. So I look at how I functioned before, and with my very strong dominant personality, if I reached out for somebody to get help or guidance or a question and I didn't get what I want, it was like, fucking asshole. And
what fucking good are you? Get out of here.
Yeah, right. It's not like they're the asshole. It's okay. What happened? Was I the asshole? What just happened? So I analyze it and try to learn from it. And sometimes it just boils down to that they didn't have the answer. I asked the wrong person.
Yeah.
And it's not a negative or a positive thing anymore. It's a lesson.
Again, that self-awareness.
Yeah. And the triggers. That's the biggest thing, is teaching people about their triggers, because the minute I get triggered, I'm instantly, where before I could never do this, but instantly, the minute I get triggered by something, I start to question almost instantly now. And it's like, why is this so triggering for me?
Yeah.
Politics. I can't discuss politics. I freaking hate it. It's to me, but I know why I hate it now. Like, I understand why it's so toxic for me. And it's because it's so toxic, misleading, and manipulating. Yeah. And that it does not align with anything that I stand for anymore. So that's why it's so triggering for me. Yeah. And it's recognizing it and knowing where your boundaries are. Because I can't go in and change the political world. Like, nope. I'm not here to take on the world. I'm here to take on the few that want the help.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I can't change everything. So
no, definitely not. But we can change our part and do our part to change that, which then flows out and impacts the people that we surround ourselves with, the communities we're in, and all of those things.
Absolutely. And our perceptions around it.
Yep. How do you ensure that your coaching approach remains authentic and aligned with your values and purpose?
You know what? That's something that wasn't happening early on as I was learning and becoming a coach. And now I'm reminded regularly. So my coaches, first of all, having that community you talked about helps keep me there, recognizing when I need the help and getting it, and really practicing what I'm preaching is what keeps me authentic. And the biggest thing is probably my meditations every day, and having that time every day to turn inward, because all the answers lie within us. Anybody who talks Akashic records, quantum, like when you get outside of the 3D world that I was living in, I was always seeking answers out here. Well, the answers aren't all there. There's learning out here, but there's not answers. The answers are here. And even when I reach out to my own coach and I ask for her thoughts, advice, or something, because something's not resonating, her immediate response to me now is tap into your records, sit, get quiet, and just literally meditate. And the answers lie within. So I often run into people say, I can't meditate. I know, I was one of those people too, because your brain reels. Like it's hard to slow down that rat race when you don't know how. But one thing I learned through various coaches, including my own, and listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza especially, there is no bad meditation. If your brain is wheeling, it's wheeling. But the more you practice, like it, I'm not joking. It took me 2 years, if not longer, to really be able to release and meditate and get out of beta. So I didn't give up. I refuse to give up. I can be very stubborn, and it can be an advantage. But it took me over 2 years to be able to quiet my mind and able to lower out of beta into the other brainwave states. And now I can do it much faster. And even now, like I remember the first time, God love him, he's a young guy in Australia. I did a coaching call with him, and he does silent meditations where I usually go with guided meditation. So I've got somebody chirping in my ear to help quiet the mind. But he said, start really paying attention to not having any guided complete quiet. And I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I can be quiet by myself. But I asked him, I said, how do I do it? He said, focus on your breath. And I started doing that. And now I love being outside in nature, focusing on my breath, because I'm hearing the vehicles that are off in the distance, or even the ones that go down my own road. But I'm hearing the birds and the rabbits and everything that's around me is becoming a sensory. Yeah. Where before you tune it out. Yes, it's beautiful here in the country. It's whatever. It was beautiful. But now it has a different sense of beauty because you're turning inward and it's becoming embodied and it's becoming a part, like every chirp, every sound, every pitch, every frequency affects you now, where before it was just noise, white noise.
Yeah. I love it. Can you share a recent insight or discovery about yourself that has deepened your understanding or shifted your perspective on personal growth?
Really, honestly, the biggest thing that I think I've learned lately is deepening the sense of love and compassion, and especially for yourself, because it's hard to protrude and exude love and compassion if you don't know how to do it for yourself. And tapping into that inner awareness and just letting things flow and happen naturally and getting the answers from within is probably the best guiding light that you can have. But you've got to figure out how to get there. You've got to be able to just quiet all of the things that are happening out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time. It takes practice.
Absolutely.
But that's been because I mean, it's one thing to do it, but then it's one thing to really embody it. And it's really been the embodiment lately that I'm going deeper and deeper with this stuff. And like I say, I'm hitting levels now that I never even knew existed. I'm in the unknown now.
That's a beautiful gift, though. I love that. Now, as mentioned off the top, can you share a little bit about the work you do in your business focused around helping people with their health and well-being through the redox molecule supplements?
Yes. So the redox molecules, you know what? I was taking this supplement for about 4 years now. I say I'm terrible with time frames. So I really was taking it before I actually ever started promoting it. So with the redox, like I say, it's a cellular level. So we have over 75 trillion cells in our body, which are in and around everything. So it is our foundation. We live and die by them. If they're not functioning, we don't exist. So dealing with redox our body naturally produces anyway. And the company that provides the products, they actually found a scientific way to secure redox in a bottle, because what would happen is they could create redox, but the minute the process stopped, they would go away and it would just be salt water. It's literally salt water. So it's as natural as you can get. And so they found a way through a 7 patented process, there's over 1,000 trade secrets, where they can stabilize these redox molecules. And it's the closest thing in bioscience that mimics what our bodies naturally produce anyway. So with the redox in our systems, the redox is the foundation of our systems. It's in our tissues, our fascia, our organs, our fluids, our digestive system, our hormone system, circulatory, like it's everywhere. Cells are everywhere. And they need to reproduce first. So cells are constantly, like our skin, they're cells, they die and regenerate. And that's why we age, because that generation or regeneration and the signaling is the key of those cells start to slow or diminish. So they say if you're healthy at the age of 20, every 10 years, you're losing about 10% of your cell optimal functionality. So they're not reproducing like they once did. They're not signaling and firing wiring like they once did. You have rogue cells that are partially functioning in your body, and then you've got dead cells that dissipate. So by adding more redox to the system, you're adding more healthy cells. So it only makes sense that your body starts to heal itself. So the company doesn't lay claims to curing anything, but our bodies naturally cure it when you add them to your system. So people who are suffering with any sort of illness, no matter how minor or how major, when you add the redox to your system, you're adding healthy cells, which is helping them fire and wire and signal. They're helping them reproduce, and they're disposing of the dead cells or the rogue cells and keeping your system functioning at its optimal. So people are actually seeing anti-aging happening. They're seeing their aches and pains dissipate. They're seeing like things, even little things like allergies. Like I was borderline taking allergy medications because every year my allergies were getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
I hardly even know my allergies. Like I hardly even notice them coming and going now because they're so minute. And when I recognize it, I just up my dosage. So it's literally as natural as you can get. You're adding healthy, natural stuff that your body's already producing anyway. Mm-hmm. And the company, one of the guys that does a presentation on it, he explains it like your house is on fire and you have a cell phone and you're calling 911. So when your cell phone is at optimal signal, you can get all the information and everything flows. But if your house is on fire and your cell phone is not got a good signal, then you can't get the message to the dispatcher to let them know what's wrong to send the proper services and your house burns down.
Right.
So without the signaling of your cells, nothing else matters. Like it's whatever is happening to you is going to continue to happen and continue to get worse because your body needs to be able to signal and regenerate. So you look at people that say for cancer, for example, and other diseases that take chemo treatments, radiation, those treatments are designed to kill cells. They're designed to kill the cancer cells.
Yeah.
But what I found out through my father-in-law, and they didn't tell us in the beginning, that chemo especially, when they inject it in your system, it doesn't have a brain. So it can attack your healthy organs and systems. And that's exactly what happened to my father-in-law. So instead of it attacking his cancer, it attacked his heart, which was perfectly healthy and strong. And it attacked his heart. He had to stop his chemo treatments. He couldn't take them because it started attacking his healthy body instead of the cancer.
Holy shit.
So if I had known about this back then, who knows?
Yeah. Well, thank you for explaining that and going through that. I appreciate that. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after you learned it?
One of the most important things I've learned is the meditation and turning inward. Because like I say, I thrived off the stress and the high beta brainwaves, and everything outside of me was dictating how I thought, felt, and act. And when I first heard somebody say, you can control that, I was like, bullshit, no way. Because we're all raised and we're grown and we're raised and we're programmed to believe that if something is happening outside of us, so my mother passing away, for example, that happened. I can't control how I think, feel, and act around that. She died. I'm going to grieve. Yeah. But the thing is, it took a while for me to get that transition and understand that how I think, feel, and act around that, I can control. Do I still need to cry and grieve and go through that stuff? Yes, I do. Because back then we were programmed. You probably grew up in the same generation. Don't cry. Yeah. So when my mom passed away, I couldn't control the crying because I needed to feel. But when I tried to stop it, I'd hyperventilate. Like didn't matter what made me cry, I'd hyperventilate. Yeah. And I'd constantly hyperventilate whenever the need to cry came because I would try to stop it. And the more I tried to stop it, if it was coming, I couldn't stop it. So I was hyperventilating all the time. Yeah. So being able to understand that's all I can control was a huge pivotal point. And that's what I still go to today. So when I'm triggered, it's okay. Why am I triggered? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And now how am I going to react? Again, and sometimes it still happens. Yes. Sometimes it still happens. We're never going to be perfect. So you're still going to have the triggers. You're still going to react, but it's being able to recognize it and pull it back. So when you're out in public and you're dealing with a difficult person and you start to go at them and you catch yourself in the moment, I've actually caught myself saying, look, you know what? This is not you. This is a situation and I'm really getting frustrated with it. So I can verbalize it now. And I'm really getting frustrated with it. So maybe we need to go beyond you. Who's your manager? And take it off them. Yeah. When you're on the phone, I noticed there's a lot of places now when you get voicemail, we will not tolerate disrespect. And it's like 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
I don't tolerate it, but I would dish it. But having that awareness has been huge. And like I say, there's times you react and you explode. But the difference is I can now pull it back and I can apologize and take ownership of it now. Yeah. Or before, I didn't think I could control it and I was justified in my explosion.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful, Ann?
Oh, Lord. I don't know that there's just one. It's a multitude of ways of being. So I have, like I say, I have a very strong drive and I have a very strong sense of determination. I have stubbornness in me. So it's been my weakness and my biggest successor because I am persistent. That stubbornness really hits and heels dig in and I go. But going through everything I've gone through, I can now do it more gracefully. I don't have to be the bull moose or the pit bull in society, taking everyone down.
In the China shop.
In the China shop.
Destroying the China shop.
Literally causing havoc. They used to refer to me as the storm at work. So I don't have to be the storm anymore. I can do it
You
more
could be the
gracefully now.
calm.
Yes, I can do it more gracefully now. I can just be the pitter patter of the rain.
I love it.
But yeah, so that's being able to calm that bull and utilize it in the best way possible has probably been a huge contributing factor to where I am now versus where I would have been otherwise. And like I say, back to the turning inward has been a huge lesson and that is a constant teacher for me. Constant.
Now, speaking of success, what does that word mean to you? How do you define the word success?
You know what? Success has multiple meanings. In the outer world, it can look like titles and money. For me, I know people that have that stuff and it's not success to them. And I am kind of the same mind. Success isn't about the external. Success is about the internal. So being able to calm that bull, being able to sit in a place of calm, peace, joy, harmony, that's success. Because we're here in this consciousness one time. Right. People believe in past lives and that we reincarnate. But right here now in this physical vessel, I've got one chance. And success for me is being able to live it authentically and pristine and in flow and in harmony as much as possible. If that excitable aspect of my personality, if I can impact in a more positive way versus a negative way, that's success. Being able to back down. Like I don't have to be seen and heard all the time anymore. I don't have to fight to be that voice. I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need to be the one that's going to be recognized or remembered. Yeah.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment is really, especially going through everything I've gone through, is that empowerment is that inner strength, because you cannot and you will not be able to lift somebody else up unless you know how to lift yourself up. You can give all the beautiful comments you want, but they're just comments. So without that energy behind it and without that flow behind it, it really doesn't have an impact. So empowerment is being able to understand the flow of energy and exude it outward in the most possible, lightest, and loving way that is possible, because empowerment is all about uplifting. So you can take that energy and use it for good or bad. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section here. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3, 4-word answer type thing. Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
Ready.
You got this. How would you describe yourself in one word?
One word. Powerful.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Embodiment, love, compassion.
What is one thing you want but cannot buy with money?
Oh, one thing I want I cannot buy with money. That would be learn, teach, and explore more.
If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
I am everything and I am nothing.
I love that. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would that be?
Uplifting.
What is one thing you love about yourself that is not related to your physical appearance?
Would have to be the personality. The laugh is kind of a physical thing and a signature thing. So I've tried to patent it. They won't let me.
And that concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. What is your why, Ann?
My why? Oh, wow. Honestly, it's to help people get out of what I refer to as the 3D world and really focus on that thinking, feeling, and acting so that they can really tap into the joy, harmony, the calm, the peace, the tranquility that life has to offer.
If you could step into my shoes, what question would you have asked yourself that I didn't ask you?
Oh, Lord. What would I ask myself that you didn't ask? You've asked a lot of questions. I would have to say, what is the one thing that anybody can do to start finding their joy now?
Go ahead, answer the question.
Start meditating.
You didn't think I was going to let you get away with not answering it, did you?
I know, right? Start meditating, because that's going to be the root of the inward. And even if it feels like you're not succeeding, just keep going. Because I was the same way. My brain was so active and busy that I didn't think I'd ever be able to calm it. Yeah. But everybody said, and even Dr. Joe says in almost everything he does, there is no bad meditation. So understanding that and reminding myself of that and just continuing. The guided meditations were huge. Then I moved into the frequency meditations because then I could just calm and I could guide myself. And now I'm able to sit in just pure, utter peace. So I'll do a mixture. Sometimes I want guided because I want to have a focus and an intention that's constantly reminding me. Sometimes I just need to shut everything down and just be.
Love it. Meditation's amazing. I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
It does. It takes practice. You have to keep at it because our minds are constantly going. So to quiet the mind
and we
takes
were not
practice.
Born that way.
No, exactly.
We forget that. When we're born, we're at our purest state. So as adults, if we can get back to that purest state, that's where the
magic
true
is.
Peace, joy, and harmony comes in.
Yes. If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh, you know what? As a living person, it would probably be Lisa Nichols.
Lisa Nichols is amazing.
Yeah, I absolutely love her. And that's why, because she has her personality is very similar to mine, that she's highly energetic. She's out there. She's very expressive. But how she speaks is so precise and impactful. The way she tells her stories and the way she comes across is just, I just spend an hour with her. I wouldn't even have to talk to her. Just sit and be with her.
In her presence.
The energy flow.
Yeah. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh, wow. Start doing this work earlier. Start finding, when you hit puberty, start tapping into this stuff. Because that's where I find it goes rogue for a lot of people, is when you hit that puberty stage. Because you're transitioning from being a child to a young adult. You get the hormones raging, everything's going crazy in your body. And then as you transition out of that into adulthood, there are things that have happened that have shut down. And you're all of a sudden now into adult analytical mode. And a lot of us lose our childhood there. I'll be the first to admit, I lost my inner child, my inner joy early on. I often heard a few different people say that the minute you experience death of a close person, you stop being a child. Well, I would have been 5 is when my first brother passed. I was 8 when the second brother passed. I was 23 when my mom passed. So at the age of 23, almost half my immediate family was gone to death.
Yeah.
So being able to rekindle and tap into that inner child and nurture and heal that inner child, but be able to bring out that fun and tap into that fun at that young adult stage, keep that. So start doing this work early on. Start doing this work when you hit puberty and you are a teenager, before you transition into adulthood, because it will serve you much longer than tapping into it like I did later on in life. So I don't ever want to change my past. I wouldn't be here without it.
Yeah.
But I look at people like my daughter, who obviously doesn't want to work with me because I'm her mother.
Yeah.
But I've given her resources where she's been able to tap into this stuff, and she trusts her instincts more than I did at her age. She can talk openly about stuff that she's experienced, which I could at that age. My parents were never shutting that aspect down, but they couldn't nurture it either. They didn't know what was happening. Yeah. But they didn't close it off either. So there's that difference. So being able to tap into not just religion. For me, religion is boxed. There's nothing wrong with it, but you almost have a set parameters of guidelines. Mm-hmm. And with spirituality, the barriers come down, and you can look at whatever religion and embody whatever pieces and parts you want. And certain religions and aspects will ring where if you're, say, Catholic or Anglican or Presbyterian, like, you tend to fit in their box. Mm-hmm. So I'm not religious at all. I am drawn to religious aspects that are out there, and I draw from them. So being able to start early on and tap into that vastness at an earlier age can really change the course of someone's adult years and their health. For sure. The mental causes the sickness, the mental can heal it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. We have all the tools we need within us to heal, and the answers, as you said earlier, we have all the answers within us. We just need to go within.
100%.
Yeah.
So when you take the mental, add the redox molecules, you're almost unstoppable. You're still going to die at some point, but you'll be unstoppable getting there.
Yes. Death is inevitable for sure.
Yeah.
Lastly, Anne, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your tribe, your people, your corner of the world, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of
Oh,
wisdom would you
wow.
impart?
Learn, teach, and explore, but do it with the utmost love and compassion, and embody it and radiate it.
Beautifully said. And thank you so much for taking and making the time to be here with me today. I have thoroughly enjoyed every minute of our conversation. You are a beautiful soul that I am so grateful to know and be connected to. Thank you for sharing your story, your journey, and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. I'm honored to have you as a member of the Empowerography community. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. You guys have been awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure and my honor. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Ann Oickle. She is a conversion coach and also runs a business which helps people with their health and well-being through the Redox Molecule Supplement. Thanks so much, Ann. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Brad. Take care.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.